Coming up on the pod this week, I'm doing some random things from my week, including 5 rapid-fire comedy and life stories. And then I'm going to finish the pod with a Q&A that I put up yesterday, and I got some really interesting questions, so I'm going to do a little Q&A action, right? No tour recap this week, just some Willie B facts and some Q&As, and it's kind of a fun little bonus episode. That's the vibe right now. I do want to mention tour dates. Next week, Chicago. That's what's happening. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Zany Chicago. Thursday has like 5 tickets left, and Tuesday, Wednesday are also running low. So if you want to come to the Chicago shows, stop waiting around. Get your tickets, okay? And then the week after that, I'm going to be in San Diego at American Comedy Company, September 6th through the 7th for 4 shows. Weekend Will is out here in my old stomping grounds of San Diego. And then I'm doing Sunnyvale, which is basically the San Jose area, for 4 shows at Rooster Teeth Feathers. Silly name for a club, but I've heard it's awesome. September 12th through the 15th. And then we're rocking and rolling New York, Stamford, Connecticut, Atlanta, Richmond, Virginia Beach. These are all dates that are coming up. Denver, Philly, Phoenix, Nashville. Dude, the rest of the year is going to be crazy. Get tickets in the description. And don't wait. Some of these shows are selling pretty well. So anyways, that's the tour update. We'll see you guys at some shows. If you come to the shows, make sure to tell me you're a podcast listener because I love hearing that. You guys are the best. And anyways, enough yapping. Let's start the episode. Go. Oh, yeah. The Willie B podcast is back in action. Dude, I've been shooting these day of. So if you're watching this on Wednesday, bro, you're getting a live look into me, into my vibe right now. And the vibes are good. The vibes are great. Forgot to mention last week was the 50th episode. What a cool thing. 50 episodes. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's 50 episodes is kind of nothing. But it's been so many of these. 50, not 50 weeks, as I've maybe taken off a week or two, but dude, 50 episodes. It's we're about a year in. That's so cool. And it's been great. I've enjoyed doing the pod. It's not too cumbersome. I still do everything myself. I need to get a mic stand. I'm realizing that because I'm realizing that like every image of people seeing me online is me holding a microphone. And I need to change it up. Just visually, I need to be able to like, hey, here's what I look like not holding a microphone. Even if it's just the same microphone here and I can use both hands. Like think about how many views I could get if I use both hands. Both hands, that's a way different experience, right? Got to be double the views with both hands. So anyways, I just want to thank you guys for 50 episodes. And dude, it's really cool to do a podcast that people care a little bit about. And soon we'll care a lot about the more famous I get. Speaking of getting famous, dude, it's been so interesting launching the tour, and I want to mention a few things about it. Basically, you know, how I've been... When I announce a tour is I essentially just put up a tour flyer on my Instagram, right? This one right here. And I've been doing that since the beginning. And what I've noticed is that the more Instagram has progressed, the less they push like pictures, right? It's mostly just reels. And what's interesting is that like I'll post a flyer and it'll reach like not much of my audience. You know, I have 190,000 followers on Instagram, right? No big deal. But that flyer will reach like 20,000 of them. So that's 170,000 people that didn't see the flyer. Which is so interesting because it's like, if I post something, it should go to all the people who follow me, but it doesn't. And I've been trying to figure out ways to improve the reach because it's so weird. And I think some people say like you got to post carousel pictures, the ones where you can swipe through them, and I didn't do that. Maybe that's a problem. But, you know, it's like a flyer will get 800 likes and won't reach that many people. And I'm like, well, shit, how do I... Now I need to start getting creative with how to market myself. But I say all that to say that ticket sales are going really well. So, again, not to bore you guys with algorithm talk, but this is what it feels like lately to be a comedian. You're like, how do I reach my audience? How do I reach these people? I'm at the whim of the algorithm. That's why I always put in the caption of videos the tour dates, because those reach the most people, right? So it's just an interesting thought experiment of how to increase your reach. dude, it's so cool. Chicago next week. It's I remember last year I did a show, one show Tuesday, one show Wednesday, and the Wednesday show sold out, and the club seat's 140, so it's a very sell-outable place, especially for a big market like Chicago. I think it was like I sold out the Wednesday show like day of, it was sold out, and then Tuesday show was like 120 maybe 115. So it was like around, what is that, about 260, right? Something like that, 260 tickets. And it was a success. It was great. And then I came back for this Chicago run, and they gave me another night. They gave me a Thursday night. And so now, about a week out, I have already sold like more tickets than I did last year. A week out. The Thursday show was almost sold out already. And to me, that's so cool. That's a direct measure of progress. So, I'm talking about all the, the algorithm doesn't reach people. Clearly, it's reaching some people. And I've experimented with different ads and stuff like that. And it's just this never-ending puzzle of how to sell tickets. Anyone can get followers. Not everyone can sell tickets. What's that Big Sean lyric? $1 million, million followers. Or no, million followers, $1 million. That's not the same. It's true. So I'm really excited about the Chicago shows. That's just such a good look for me. And the New York show is another one I wanted to mention for two reasons. Dude, tickets are like flying for New York. I think I've sold 180 tickets in like 2 weeks of announcing the show. There's like 100 tickets left. So that's amazing. And that's some shit where that's some of the most tickets I've sold. I don't know, man. It's just one of the most successful shows so far and that I've ever done. And it's been so interesting because sometimes you'll go to a venue's ticket page and you can see the live look at the map. Like, I'll put up a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. It's like you can see the seats that are still available and ones that are bought. The red are still available. The gray are gone. And so I'm able to see a live look into how the show is selling, which is awesome and also terrible for me and my mental health. Because, dude, it's like I'm checking all the time. How do you not check? It's crazy. And it's a good thing because I'm able to like gauge how things are. I don't need to, because usually to get ticket counts, I have to email my agent's assistant. They have to reach out to the club. Club emails them. They email me. It's like this whole process. But this, it's like I get a live look. It's like I'm in the computer. It's like that scene in Zoolander where they're like, I'm in the computer? Or not I'm in the computer. It's in the computer. Whatever, dude. I'll call back to Zoolander later, actually. But for a reason, during the Q&A. It's just so interesting to have this at my disposal. And it's good and bad. But I'm just so excited about New York. The dream is that to sell out that one and add another show. That would be so sick. So, yeah, dude. Again, it's like people don't... I'm saying all this stuff because it's like these are all the things that you don't think about when you're like watching a comedian and you're like a fan of a comedian. You're not thinking about me like obsessively checking which are red, which are gray on the ticket maps. It's like you don't think about that, but that's what's happening. And I don't think I'm the only one that does that shit. But I will say I'm feeling so much less stressed than I used to be, man. Because when I first started this, and I've said this before, and I know I've said this before, but these are just new thoughts, new feelings from the last week. It's like when I first was like repped by William Morris, I felt this kind of pressure. Obviously, I felt pressure now that's like the industry in Hollywood's watching me now, right? All right, we're taking a chance on you. Let's see what you got, right? And I remember I hit a point a year ago, where I started going to cities and not selling as many tickets as I used to. I would average 150, and then all of a sudden I hit a couple cities, I was hitting 90 tickets. And I was starting to get really stressed because I don't know the business, all right? You guys know me as Business Burkart, but that's not who I was a year ago. I didn't know what was an acceptable level of success to continue having support from the industry. I'm seeing how high I can get my arm to go. And so, but the more I've done this now, I'm not. Everyone who gets successful has this fear of it's all going to go away, right? I think everyone has that. Even the big dogs, I think, still feel that. And I very much have lived with that feeling for the last year of like, am I doing enough? Am I selling enough tickets? But then now, the more I'm doing this, and it's like, obviously it's been going well. It's been going better, arguably, now. I'm selling more tickets than I ever have. And it's like the offers for comedy clubs continue to come in. And in my mind, in my anxiety brain, I will get those offers and go, okay, whatever I'm doing, it's working. And there's the most important part, all the shit I did last year, all the mistakes, the selling 90 tickets, which to some, that's all they can sell. But to me, that was the lower end. Now I look back to that, I'm like, that was okay. Because even though I sold, 90 tickets in a city, I still got all these other opportunities. So clearly that was not enough to make Hollywood go, nah, we guessed wrong. You're out of here, kid. Beat it. No, that was okay. And so knowing that that was okay, I know I can do that. I know I can do whatever that 90 ticket shit is. It's like, I can do that. If that's the low end, it's like, I'm going to be okay. And that has been huge. It's little things like Chicago, for example, selling way more tickets than I already did last year. That's huge, man, because this club didn't want to give me a weekend, which is totally fine. They were like, well, let's see, let's not again, they didn't say this to me, but it seems like the vibe was basically like, we don't think he's ready for a weekend yet. Let's give him another Thursday show to see if he not only sells as good as he did last year, but does he sell more? And now a week out, I already sold more. What's good? It's just really, it's just nice. Do you feel that exhale I just did? That's how it feels. And you guys have really, it's funny, man. You guys have seen every part of my emotional journey this last year of doing these 50 episodes. It's been an up and down thing. And it's funny. I wonder what I was talking about last year. I probably wasn't being completely honest with how stressed I could be and how stressed I was, right? But now it's like, look how far we've come. And I will keep doing the podcast. So you guys will continue to like ride with me through this journey. And so I don't know. If I was a fan of a comedian, I would enjoy this. Are you guys enjoying this? Hopefully leave a comment to let me know if you are. Oh dude, what do you guys think about this? There's a part of me that really wants to start having a rider, which means like a green room request. The crazy version will be like, oh, I want bottles of Pellegrino and only green M&Ms, right? That's like the cliche version. Or I know a comedian, I think it was like Eddie Griffin or something. He was like, he wanted a brand new pair of Nike white Air Force Ones before every show. That's so funny. Like brand new shoe. Dude, I don't want brand new shoes. I got to break them in. If I put on the new shoes, I got to like walk around the block a couple times, break them in before the show. I'm not walking around stiff shoe McGee. But that's an example of a crazy rider. And an example of like a very simple rider will be like, oh, like a meat and cheese platter in the green room. That's very simple. That's doable. It's like, cheeses and meats. You know a meat and cheese platter, how it's meat and cheeses. That's what it is. And part of me wants to like, and I don't have a rider. Some people will be like, what do you need? And I'm like, water. That's what I need. I need a bottle of water. I don't care. But I'm like, at what point do I get to have a rider? And I would honestly only put two things in there. One's easy, one's hard. Number one, I want glass bottles of water. The reason is I'm trying to stay away from plastic. The more I've done research, the more I've realized that plastic is not only bad for you, but it also, like, something like 10% of plastic gets actually recycled. So I'm trying to reduce my plastic use. And it's also just, like, not good for your body either. I heard some stat where it's like all of us have like a credit card's worth of plastic in our bodies or some crazy shit like that. And I'm not making that up. That is something I heard. So I try to use glass as much as I can or like aluminum, for example. So that's like a request is like some sort of glass water bottle. So that's like not super hard. But the one I really want to do is I've started drinking these yerba mates, these canned yerba mates that they have like 5 grams of sugar in a big can, and it's like 20 calories a can. It's like my favorite drink. It has 150 milligrams of caffeine, and it's the type of caffeine where it keeps me like at like a level base, like a midpoint. I don't have this crazy steep caffeine spikes. Like I can be drinking this tea like right before a set. And so I want that in the green room, but it's a specific kind of them. There's like 2 of them that are the low sugar. So I'm saying all of this to say that, like, if you put this in your rider, someone from the club has to go find this shit. So it's like, I'm so empathetic to other people. I don't want to make people have to run errands for me, right? They got to go, okay, It's like they're already gonna not like me because they're like, God damn, I gotta get a glass water bottle. Where do I even find that? I gotta get a yerba mate with the low sugar, not the regular one. It's like they go to a 7-Eleven. Okay, there's nothing here. I gotta go to the next 7-Eleven. Okay, there's a glass water bottle. Got that. Where's the yerba mate? All right, I'm gonna go to the Walgreens 10 minutes away. It's like I'm making this poor fucking bus boy or whatever run errands for me. Because I need some shit that's not even that big of a deal. This is what goes through my head when I'm thinking about having a rider. It's like, yes, I would like these things, but I don't want to. But I'm so like, yeah, but I don't. It's not a big deal. I would love this, but I don't want to. If it's a whole thing, don't worry about it. When do I get to be like, thank you, I would like those things? It's not my problem how you get them. I would just like them. And there's been, speaking of caffeine, there's been little coffee cold brew things in a green room. I had one of those during one of my Austin shows, and it fucking shot me up and made me all jittery. I already have the shaky hand thing, which I'm sure I've talked about on the podcast. It's a thing with my hands where they shake. It's called a benign tremor. It's just my left hand especially is very shaky. And so if I have caffeine, it's real shaky, especially coffee. So I'm on stage, shaky hands, Captain Shakers, right? And the coffee makes me feel like I have to poop. So now I'm like shaking, feel like I got to poop. I'm like, this is not a good caffeine source. Hence, I want the yerba mate. But I don't want to inconvenience you for going to 4 7-Elevens. So I want your guys' input. When do I get to do this? I think probably when I'm selling out all the shows. That's what I think. And I will tip well, right? Talked about that last episode. I think that's the point. When you're making the club so much money that they're okay with a little bit of inconvenience. Unless it's brand new white Nikes. That's nuts. I think it's a kind of a rock star thing to do, which at the time, what was it, Eddie Griffin or something? He was a rock star. So do rock star shit. Me, not rock star. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right, 5 rapid fire things from my week. Thing number 1, I forgot to mention this in the DC Virginia podcast. Dude, I had the pilot coming home from Virginia to LA. I've never seen this before. He came out and did like a speech to the plane. He did the captain's speech, but like where the flight attendants stand. And he was doing it, and bro, he was like doing bits and kind of bombing. He was making these jokes that were like not that funny. He was a kind of a strange guy. And I immediately felt uncomfortable because I was like, is this guy unhinged? Could this be this guy's goodbye message to the world? Like, who is this guy? Why is he doing this? Just be the captain. Don't do bits. Flight attendants, go for it. Do the bits, do the funny things when we land. Like, go ahead, Southwest. Bid it up. That's fine. But if you're the captain, bro, keep it chill and explain what's going on. No bits. Okay? Made me nervous. You know what my favorite Southwest bit is? It's the one where when they land and then they pull up to the gate and it goes, bring, and then they go, get out. Good bit. It's a good bit, Southwest. But if you're the pilot, no bits. Thing number 2. Dude, my mom visited Los Angeles last weekend for the first time ever. You heard that right. Ever. It sounds like I have a weird relationship with my mom. Incorrect. We're very, very, very close, and I love her very much. I've lived in LA for 9 years, and she has never come. The reason being is I told her that, like, if I want to spend time with you, I'd rather go visit home and be home instead of you coming here and then I got to, like, figure out things to show you, and it just doesn't make sense. So if I'm going to see you, I'll go up to the Bay Area. But now we decided you got to come to LA. You got to see the stuff. And she came down. And it was the perfect amount of time. It was 2 nights and like 1 full day. Me and Kaylee and I took her to all our favorite food places. We chilled. She met Oso. It was great. And there's nothing really else I want to say about it other than just that was really fun. And my mom's probably watching. And love you, Mom. Thanks for coming to see where I live. Thing number 3. There was this thing at Flappers, my home club in Burbank, called the Burbank Comedy Festival. And it's a comedy festival of a lot of newer comics, some seasoned ones. There's some industry there. It's a cool thing they do every year. And the booker gave me, they have like a bunch of shows every night. I think they have like 7 shows a night, all around the same area. Dude, the day before, he hit me up with 5 spots. and they were all 5 minutes. Because all the comedians on the shows do 5 minutes. And so I had a spot on 5 consecutive shows doing 5 minutes. It was such an interesting experience because I don't typically do 5-minute sets anymore, right? But now it was like I had to craft these different sets, and it's like, do I prove myself? Do I work on stuff? I opted to just work on stuff because I'm like, I already have the highest level of the industry. I already have like an amazing touring agent, so it's like, what else could I get? Let me just work on the jokes, which is what I did. And it was so fun. It was so productive. And it just, I don't know, man. It's fun to do that many sets in a row because you really get to work on shit in front of 5 different crowds. And crazy enough, I already had a show in West Hollywood at like 9 o'clock. So I still did that. So I did 5 shows and then drove over to West Hollywood, did another show. And at that point, I was warmed the fuck up. I went on stage like, bro, I've been up here. This is my 6th show tonight. I'm rocking and rolling. And I had such a good set. And I did something, this is the 4th thing, I did something I've never done on stage before. I use Doordash a lot. Arguably too much. That's the thing I've been spending my money on the most is Doordash. Because I hate cooking, and I'm out late, and it's just nice to come home and have a meal waiting at your door, right? And I was going to order Doordash before my set, and because the place was going to close during my set. So I set a reminder on my phone to order the meal before I go on stage. I missed the reminder. I go on stage. I'm doing my set, and I realized, oh shit, I didn't place a DoorDash order. The place I want to get from is going to close. So during my set, I unlocked my phone, hit the DoorDash app, and hit place order and narrated the whole thing. That's something I've never done on stage before. There was one time early on when I was doing stand-up in Chicago, I ordered an Uber from the stage because that's how pressed I was for time getting from spot to spot. Oh no, this is when I was visiting Chicago doing spots. But I've never ordered DoorDash. Like, that is such a power move. And I was like doing it in a silly way. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I got to put my DoorDash order in. And the audience like wasn't laughing. They were more just like, is this guy's thing? Is he like the DoorDash guy? But I literally placed the order on stage, dude. It was so crazy. I'm kind of proud of that, though, that I pulled it off and still like got back and did my set and was kind of killing. So that's a one-time thing I'll maybe do again. Who knows? But DoorDash order on stage. Love it. Last thing. I did like a 100% Hispanic show while my mom was here. The show is called Pupusas and Punchlines. Didn't know it was a Latino show or Hispanic show. I'm not sure what the phrasing of it is. Latinx, whatever it is. And I get there and I'm like, oh, I'm the only white guy in this entire room, including the comedians. And it was a really fun, like, test to do. And it was a really fun exercise because when I got up there, the audience was like, who's this fucking white boy? I'm going to get back to my pupusas because I don't know who this pupusa is, but I'm not into them. I'm going to enjoy my pupusas in front of me. And for the first like 5 minutes, not doing well. And then I just kept chipping away, did some crowd work, got them on my side, and I started killing. I got off stage and I was like out of breath. I felt like I just gone through a fight. It was really fun, man. Just as a challenge. I love a challenge. And especially because the guy running the show was like, oh, it's a very, it's like an older Catholic Hispanic audience. So don't, jokes about like, dirty jokes essentially, or gay jokes, for instance, won't really work well. And part of me was like, okay, let me try though. And sure enough, I did a silly gay joke. Biggest laugh I got the whole set. Just saying. Let's do the Q&A. Those are 5 rapid fire things for my week. Let's do the Q&A. Damn, this is. I thought that we'd be way shorter on time. Part of me wants to just save the Q&A for next week, but let's do it. Let's do it right now. I love this question. What's an area of knowledge that you know a lot about, and what's an area you know nothing? Great question. You know what I know a lot about? Funny enough, filmmaking and facts about movies. If you name a movie, I can almost guarantee that I can name an actor or an actress in that movie. Like movie trivia, sign me up. Unless it's like the 1960s and before, I'm out. But anything after that, 80s, 90s, 2000s, I'm in. And I went to film school, so I have this knowledge of filmmaking that I don't really put to use, but I just have this knowledge. For example, here's how I know how to like light a scene. Here's how you shoot a scene. I'll just tell you guys real quick in 20 seconds. If I'm character number 1 and this is character number 2, there's a thing called the 180 degree line, and it goes from me to the other person, right? And there's this line. And if you have the camera on one side, let's say my left side, shooting the other person, the other camera needs to be next to the other person on the same side of the line shooting me. And you cannot cross the 180 degree line. You have to keep it on that same line. Does that make sense? The camera's on the same side of the frame. And then the lights go on the other side. Normally if the camera's here, the light's coming from this side. Right? So watch a movie and you'll notice that the way that's set up, it's like the camera's on the same side of the people and the light's coming from the other side. Another random fact about filmmaking is if a character is meant to be showing kind of power and strength, they are going to be shifted towards the right side of the frame. And if the character's weak or kind of like I guess weak is a good word for that, they're going to be on the left side. So if a character has power over the other person, they're probably going to be on the right side of the frame, and the weaker person on the left side. Those are 2 quick filmmaking facts. Pay attention next time you're watching a movie, and I promise you'll see some of those things. Something I know nothing about, the stock market. 0. I know 0 about the stock market. I have money in a high interest savings account, and that's it. I couldn't know less. I don't invest in stocks. I don't even know what the NASDAQ is or means. There's a lot of up and down. There's green, there's red, there's decimals, there's the market closing. Hey, my brain is closing because I don't know what the fuck is going on. Couldn't know less. At some point, I'll lock into it, or maybe I won't. I don't know yet. All I know is I'm going to spend that money on Doordash. Next question. Did I sell my underwear? This is in reference to a clip I posted on Tuesday. I have a bit about this in my act, but a guy emailed me asking if he could buy my underwear. And the answer is no. I did not obviously sell my underwear. I'm not a fucking sellout. Am I leaving money on the table for starting an OnlyFans? For sure. I thought about this. Kaylee and I will make jokes about this, that if I made an OnlyFans of not even anything porny or weird, just from like me doing stuff, I don't know, even with my shirt off, I could probably make so much money. And honestly, probably be more successful. But I have too much integrity, and I don't want to do that shit. That's not who I am. And I'm not doing this for the money, right? But if I wanted to sell out and make money and drive a fucking Bentley around West Hollywood, bro, I could probably do it. But I'm just not gonna, and I never will. Next question. What's your feel-good nostalgia movie? This is a really good question, and I'm not the type of dude who like puts on the same movie and watches it over and over. I did when I was a kid, but not as an adult. But I thought of a couple feel-good nostalgia movies. The Sandlot, that's a big one. That was a big childhood movie of mine. I haven't rewatched it in a long time. I really would like to. But that movie brings back such memories, and it's such an important movie for me when I was a kid. Ferris Bueller, that's another one that I would put in feel-good nostalgia movie. I've seen it a ton of times. I could almost describe scene by scene the whole movie. And it's just a good time. I just really like that movie. And then I would also put in some comedies from when I was younger. Superbad is my favorite comedy. Not only because it's just joke for joke, I think it's insanely funny, but also came out like when I was the age of the characters. Like they were like 16 or whatever, 17, and like I was the same age when that movie came out, so it hit me at the perfect time. It's like people who are like, "Oh, Animal House, that's my favorite movie," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it doesn't age very well, and it was probably only your favorite movie when you're that age of the people." Or what's another like a coming of age movie like Superbad? I don't know. You're probably saying it right now in your head, but it's one of those like coming of age movies from when you were a kid. That's going to be your favorite, and Superbad was mine. And then I got to put movies like Anchorman and Step Brothers in there, just because those are such comfort movies for me. Because those are childhood comedies of mine, and they're just so goddamn funny. Will Ferrell was the king when I was growing up. The king. couple more questions here. Number one, how did you become a Mavericks fan? Great question. The Dallas Mavericks, that is. Basketball, for people who don't know. I'll give you the quick story. I grew up a Golden State Warriors fan for my whole life, and they were god-awful my whole childhood. Like, so bad. They were like the worst team in basketball. But then when we got Steph Curry, all of a sudden it was like, oh, things are starting to get a little bit better. And then they won the championship in, I think, 2015. And and I'd been a pretty big fan at that point. And the one time I went to Europe was after I graduated college. And because I was in Europe, I couldn't watch the last few games of the championship. And they won the championship, the first one, like the big one in 2015. And this is the team with like Steph, Clay, Draymond. And I couldn't watch because I was in Europe. And it was really kind of heartbreaking to wake up and see they won the championship. This is, a childhood team that I finally can witness watching a championship, and I missed it. Really sad. But at that point, I started doing comedy. And when I started doing comedy, I basically retired from watching sports. Don't tell me why. I just put all my energy into stand-up. And so just things like sports, which I was obsessed with sports when I was a kid. I cared more about fantasy baseball than I cared about schoolwork. But this weird flip change when I started doing stand-up that I just stopped caring. Cut to then, legitimately, no sports, no football, no baseball, no basketball. I didn't watch any sports. Didn't give a shit. I was all in on comedy. I would watch comedy podcasts. I was obsessed. Cut to COVID. I started kind of watching a couple basketball highlights here and there, and I stopped kind of caring about the Warriors as much because when they got Kevin Durant, the whole thing became less fun. To me, they were like a super team, and they won a bunch of championships, and I was like, yeah, they should. Why wouldn't they win a championship with this good of a team? And it just was the charm of what the Warriors wasn't there anymore. The homegrown Steph, Clay, Draymond, it was just like not the team that I loved. And so it was that much easier to kind of let sports go just because this childhood team I loved just became this whole worldwide thing. And I was like, this isn't fun anymore. Again, cut to COVID now. I'm watching basketball highlights, and a friend of mine, I don't remember who, but someone was like, you got to check out Luka Doncic. And I was like, who? And it was probably my buddy Luke. Shout out to him if he's listening. And I watched highlights of this guy, and I was like, wow, I love the way this guy plays. I love his attitude. He's always playing with a smile. It's turning into a really long story, and I'm like kind of annoyed that I dived this deep into it, but I'm just going to finish the story for people who actually give a shit. I liked Luka not only because how he played, but because he reminded me of people I knew growing up. I grew up going to this summer camp, this day summer camp, and they did like a study abroad program for European kids who would come over and be counselors. Camp counselors. It was like, 18 to 21-year-old European people would come over and like work at the camp. And I had like a lot of kind of friends and people I looked up to that were European, just these British guys who would come over, and I got really close to the counselors. And Luka reminds me of one of those counselors. Again, weird reason to like a basketball team, but it's just why I became such a fan of this guy. It just reminds me of people I knew growing up. And I saw also they had this this vlog of the team, and I started watching that, and I grew to really like the team. And big fan of Mark Cuban. I just like who he is as a person, and also he started this like drug company. I think it's called Cost Plus Drugs, where they find a way to like heavily discount medicine. And I just really admire that. I've never really talked about this, but my mom was diagnosed with leukemia. I think it was probably 12 years ago now. And thank God it was the type of cancer where it was treatable by pills instead of chemo. So she kind of has just taken medicine her whole life. And I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this. I don't think she probably does. And I've seen, and she's totally okay now. It's been in remission the last few years, but it's a thing where she had to take medicine every day. And I kind of got a look into that industry of she always had insurance, but if she didn't have insurance, she like couldn't pay for the medicine that would save her life. And it was really expensive, like crazy expensive. The pharmaceutical industry is like beyond corrupt. And so I remember when I saw this thing that Cuban started where they like acquire these drugs and sell them at like a massively discounted rate, like 80% off. And I became such a bigger fan of him just because of that. Something that really hits close to home. And I just think that's an amazing industry to tackle and improve on. So these are legitimately all the reasons why I became a Dallas Mavericks fan is, again, needing a new team to support. My dad also lived in Dallas for like 6-7 years when I graduated college. So I have a bit of ties to the place. Being a fan of Luka, being a fan of the team, Mark Cuban, all that stuff. And I started just watching the games. I'll watch some Mavericks games. And then all of a sudden I became like almost in an OCD sense, like watching every game. And I've been doing that for the last like 3 years now. I just watch every single game. And it's just a thing I do. What a long-winded answer. I think some of you probably enjoyed that. Some of you maybe skipped through it, which I understand. I'll finish with this question because I bet so many people want to know this. Who's the guy you'd go gay for? Probably 2004 Brad Pitt. I don't think there's a man who's more good looking that's existed than 2004 Brad Pitt. I'm talking Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like Ocean's 12 Brad Pitt, shaved head Brad Pitt. Dude, I rewatched Ocean's 12, which is a bad movie, but that motherfucker is beautiful. And I don't want to go gay for him, but like if I had to, 04 Brad Pitt. I'll fucking lick that shaved head. Let's get out of here, dude. This was This was a fun episode for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And come see me on tour, dude. Chicago next week. Get your tickets. San Diego, Sunnyvale, New York City. Again, that one's looking like it's going to sell out. So get tickets to that show. Everything's in the description. Please subscribe. Please thumbs up the video. Leave comments. Any comments, dude. Let me know what's up, man. Check in with me. I want to see the comments, dude. And you guys are the best. I appreciate you. Have a good rest of the week. And I will check in again next week. Maybe from the road, by the way. I'll be in Chicago Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I may do this from a hotel room. Who knows? Either way, I'll see you then.